My name is Oladele Ayorinde, and I'm happy to welcome you again today to the Organist Concert and Seminar series. Today's edition is quite unique in its own capacity for the obvious reasons, of course. We are going back to our series on documenting oral history, or particularly documentation of sacred music, particularly from the point or a standpoint of organ and organ culture in Nigeria. This is part of one of our huge ongoing documentation project at the Organ House. So I will get back to today's vision shortly, and the plan for today shortly. But briefly, I would like to welcome some of us who are joining us for the first time, joining the Organist Seminar series for the first time. The series is a space of music exploration, documentation, artistic exploration, analysis, and most importantly, it is a digital epistemology. By that, I mean a digital documentation and archival project that aims to not just stage concerts or stage seminar, but instead use a kind of digital approach, epistemology in documenting research, history, people, work, and making it open. So in short, the project is an open access, ongoing curatorial program that aims to open conversation around music, music culture, art, people, and praxis, both within Nigeria, Africa, and global Africa. So if you are here for the first time, I will invite you to also check our spaces online on YouTube, Facebook for conversation and new editions and our body of works. I mean, we have up to 150 plus, or let's say 120 something right now, 126, I say, yeah, of some of the materials we have documented that are currently open access. We have more than that, but those are the ones that are currently open access. The idea is to open them for conversation, to advance knowledge, and to strengthen the intellectual capacity, scholarly capacity, particularly within Nigerian musicology. So please join us on this journey on a weekly basis as we advance this initiative. And for those who have been joining us constantly also, we say thank you. Thank you for joining us. We sincerely appreciate your efforts and your contribution in terms of question, in terms of different ways you have contributed to the projects. Thank you so much. So briefly, we have a few projects that we are also planning, which some of us already know. The first one is the Organ House International Symposium. The second Organ House International Symposium, this is happening from July 13 to 17. Please, we've received a significant body of abstracts. We've received abstracts, and currently we are open for registration. I'm sure you have seen our call both on across social media for registration. So please join us. It promises to be a kind of, this is not just, the symposium is not a conference. We say this to people every day. It's not a conference, it's an homecoming. It is a space where we interrogate, we reproduce, we challenge and open up and empower scholars, particularly early career scholars who are finding their way, and those who are established, who wants to renew and reimagine themselves. Organ House Seminar Series is for you. So please, the Organ House Symposium is for you, rather. So please join us as we prepare for this important homecoming event and intellectual community. So please join us. And thanks for those who have registered. If you are yet to register, please join us, register for the event. Also, the department is also hosting the annual conference for this year. I think the abstract call for paper is out there. Please also send in your abstract for that also. So we look forward to receiving your abstract and your your work. I'm looking forward to your research, engaging with you and other things. Thank you so much. So for those who, let me see, I think we have some of our social media. I just want you to share some of them with us as soon as possible so we can quickly dive into this process for today. As promised, again. Yeah, 126. Yeah, so for this is the link for to our YouTube. You can follow us if you are here to do that. Then for those also for registration for the symposium, you can also do that via this link. Let me see quickly. Okay, you can do that via this link also, which is a call for registration. I think we've done that. Okay, I'll share that in the process anyway towards the end so we can quickly get back to the business of the day. Okay. So today, let's come back to the focus and the plan for today. Today, we are so excited and so happy to have one of us, when I mean one of us, one of our long-standing, artistic voices, one of the long-standing artistic voices, experienced musician, artist to the core when I'm talking about artists in terms of the classical music scene in Nigeria. We have one of them today, and we are so excited, to having him around. It's an interesting. I'm looking forward to the conversation. So today we have a person called Barrywhite. Of course, we all know him from Prince Ope Fadina. So today is it's going to be an interesting one because I'm excited. Prince Ope Fadina is one of those voices around that has been around. And when I say being around, you know what I mean. So it's quite an interesting season today. In this season, we are looking forward to engaging him. Prince Ope Fadina, how are you today? Thank you for joining us. Hello, Prince. You kindly unmute yourself, sir. Kindly unmute yourself. Yeah. So okay. He's trying to do that. Just wait a bit. Okay. So how are you today, sir? Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I welcome all the listeners also all over the world.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, so I think but let's just create a kind of structure for the conversation today. And as usual, we have a structure the way we manage the conversation. And so we have the conversation in the next 45 minutes together with Fadina. Then after that, we are going to open for Q&A. So you are welcome to ask Prince Fadina questions. You want to engage him. Surely from the conversation we are having right now, there are things you perhaps want to advance on. You will be happy to within this context, of course, to explain further or provide clarity on a few things. So let's get back to the business. So it is more of course, it's a community conversation. So it is not it's not something so serious. It's an exchange. So let's start. I think the first thing is Prince Ope Fadina. Many people on this, those who are still going to join us, of course, they know the name, but it would be nice for them to know you in person in terms of getting to hear from you. Will you please introduce yourself briefly to our friends and colleagues on the call today?
Thank you very much. My name is Prince Ope Fadina, and I hope everybody's hearing me.
Yes, I can hear you.
I was born in the 60s by one Prince F.B. Fadina, actually, who was supposed to be the king of Ota, or Lota of Ota. But because of his officiation with the British Council, he was the first clerk in the British Council of Nigeria in 1954. So because he was so glued to the British Council and the job there, and he relinquished that post for his. At the same time, he was a Baptist organist. He was a Baptist organist. And it was through him that I learned the music, and then I've been in business of singing since then. Even when I was very small, till when I first played in the Apostolic Church in 1981. And then from there, I found myself at St. John's Church, Choral, being the first place, I understand, that I sang good music and with musical note. Then from there to I was preparing to go to St. John's to Rope. That was 1984, when I was called at St. David's Church. That is along Occasional Street in Obalende, where I was living, to come and rescue because the organist was late. So, and from there, I became the organist since 1984 until 1999. 1999. And then later on, just to shorten everything. Then from there, I became the music consultant to the Embassy of Grace. At the same time, I was in the business of adjudication of musical, I mean, what do you call it? Musical judging music, rather. And from there, in 2007, I left Nigeria for UK. For UK. Then after 10 years in UK, I came back to Nigeria. But presently, I'm at Bariga in Christ Anglican Church in Bariga, just to shorten the whole scenario.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Prince Fadina, for that. At least for some of our colleagues who, by now, through this, I'm sure you know who we are engaging. And based on today's conversation, you get to know that we are actually in for a bigger things, Prince Ope Fadina has been around for years, and not just been around, with significant input, contribution to the Nigerian church landscape, particularly within the classical music scene. So Prince Ope Fadina, I am going to start with a few questions with you, and we're going to take them one by one. Please feel free to, engage in different. This place is our space is a free space, and don't forget, and to our friends, this project is an oral history project. So the idea is to document, is to strengthen the knowledge base on African music, Nigerian church music history, organ culture, choral culture, whatever that means to anyone. So the idea is to strengthen the knowledge base and to empower scholars with, important data, important perspective to advance knowledge. Yeah. So I'm going to start with the first question. Before that, for each of some of the questions I need to get, there's a kind of context I provide for you for our friends to understand. So my first question, sir, your career spans singing, broadcasting, organ and choir direction. The question for me, I found their intersection of different roles has come together over the years, which has also shaped your artistic identity. Then the question is, how will you describe your education and early career trajectory as a singer, organist, and choral director? How will you describe your education, particularly trajectory in all these important facets that it brings together?
You see, there is one thing I want to put to us, that there are most of us that are into business of music are not originally musicians. Do you know why I'm saying that? Is
Okay.
that we have doctors, we have pilots who are organists, isn't it?
Yeah.
And most of them, especially one man that used to like to sit with me in the Valentine Singers at Ilford, where I was the official soloist in that choir for 10 years. And the man is a soldier, is a soldier. Then at the same time is into selling house properties in England. But the man is also a pianist, a very, very, very good pianist. So most of us have, I think, professional jobs. You understand? Then it's like Akim Olajuwon, then who was a lawyer, and then the man was traveled all over the world playing the tennis and things like that. So, but what I'm trying to point out is that music usually takes a profession from us. I am a criminologist. I'm a criminologist. Yeah, and I served as a fingerprint analyst at a Central Criminal Registry for 24 years. And during all while, nobody knew me as a criminologist, even though when they pointed at me in those days that, what does this guy do? He just flies around, he flies left, he flies around. They will say he plays that thing that looks like a cupboard. That is, those who do not know the meaning, what organ is. They say he plays that thing like a cupboard. So, but I started, as I said earlier, music is said to be a language of the soul. And I usually say that music will take your profession from you. Yes, music is very, very jealous. It will take your profession from you. I delved into music since 1984. Meanwhile, I was still in the service, in the police service. But I was taking music serious even more than that job. Not that I was not doing my job. When I was after doing all this, my day job and everything, maybe like 4 hours a day, I mean, putting musical notes into sonic software, and that is what Dr. Fadi really about. You see, so I found myself doing more of music and singing also. I sang with the Mosen Choir for years. I also sang with the City Choir under Sir Emeka Nwokedi. Then just to quickly say something more, I want to say that Ms. Banky Ademola did a lot of things. He did a lot in my musical career. Though I started with St. John's Church under Pa Hector Olabinjo, not quite 4 months that I spent under him, because it was Dr. Vida from the University of Ife that sent me to Aroloya, yes, as they call it, in Lagos, St. John's Church, because he saw my weakness in music. I thought I could play it. You know, somebody playing F sharp for so many years. I've been playing since 1968. Since 1968, but for almost about 11 years, I never knew that there were other keys on the keyboard. So when I got to 1984, when I got to Ife, that man, he put music in 3 sharps in my front. I sight read it, but played it in F sharp. He was looking at me. That is Dr. Vida, late Dr. Vida. He put another one in my, that one was 3 flat. I sight read it, played it in F sharp. Dr. Vida shook his head. Always remember that. Say, what a pity. You know what I'll do for you? I will send you to our lawyer St. John's to meet my father in music. That's Pa Hector Labinjo. So when I got there, I showed the letter. Straight the man Papa asked me to sit down with the baby. So he saw my sight reading, very nice. And about 4 months I used under him, he retired. And that was how Mr. Kende Okunsoya, another guru on the piano, came. So I spent some time under him. He encouraged me also. It was under Mr. Kende Okunsoya that I first sang my first solo, something like, I think, Angels Ever Bright and Fair, or something like that. So it's under him. So secondly was Ms. Banky Ademola at Museum Center, also helped as, actually, I would say it was my first vocal coach. He did a lot of things in my life. That was why when I got to England, I had to go to the school that she passed out. I wanted to know that school because there was nothing more that woman wanted to know again as far as vocal music is concerned. So I was very lucky to have very good people around me also. Dr. Winga Loko also, I gained a lot of things under the Dr. Loko. Especially when I got to LASU. I got to LASU 2003, but I couldn't do the exam at LASU because that was when the National Identity Card Project started, and I was to be in charge of the whole of Lagos Island. So I didn't. It took place. That program took off exactly the day that there was an examination at LASU. And then Mr. Luko was there, and then Ogunmi was there, one of the lecturers there. Then Kayode, Oguntade, they all bewildered. What's the problem of this guy? Until later on, they saw that I was, because you'll be charged. You will be charged with sabotage if you were found wanting in the office of the national identity card. So that was how my life. And then when I got to Britain, I was the main, I would say, official soloist for the East London Chorals at Stratford and Valentine Singers at Ilford. We were at Ilford before we shifted singing base, our rehearsal base, to Seven Kings. I was with the two choirs for 10 years before I came back to this. Then I was very vast then in Italian repertoire, in Greek repertoire, in German repertoire, and Latin repertoire. I sang very, very widely. And you know, in this place, every season has its own music. And you have to sing, you have to sing a work. There must be a work for every season. So that was where I had my very, very large repertoire in vocal singing till I came back to Nigeria.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir. This is quite deep. Thanks for sharing these important details with us. Of course, this is just important names already. Really who were the pioneers? People, can you share with us who the people you think were the pioneers at the time, or the major influences on music and choral music culture? Who were these people at the time?
Oh, the first person, I'm not sure he is all that popular, and that was in 1984 when I got to St. David's Anglican. I met this experienced organist and voice coach also. Actually, he wasn't my mentor also, but I gained from him. Someone that I could really call my mentor is Sir Emeka Nwokedi. Sir Nwokedi. There is no music on the surface of the earth that Nwokedi cannot interpret, as well as our father in music, Papa Lazekweme. I think I joined his choir from about twice, and there is no one that will join Lazekweme that will not become a choir director somewhere, except that person has become the laziest musician or the laziest singer on the surface of the earth. Yeah, most of the people that pass through the artistic corridor of Lazekweme were choirmasters in those days that I knew. Some of them are choirmasters. Jimmy is one of them, and this man, I don't have forgotten the name, at Idiaraba, at Cross Idiaraba. It's most of them like that. And the same thing with Sam Nwokedi. I gained a lot from him. I will call him my mentor, second, sorry. Second, because I knew Mr. Kende Okunsoya, then who really shaped me. He really shaped me, understand? And then, and he's also, I call him also a physiologist, understand? He will want you to sing, understand? That is why I've taken my own concept also. I gained a lot of things from him. He will make sure that you sing, even though when you're singing him, you sing that hymn like an anthem, interpretation, and going to every letter, diction, and everything. I will tell you that is what has taught me to become a good adjudicator. Yes, in music. Because when I came from England, I relocated to Cross River State. I'm coming from Cross River. I just landed about 1.5 hours ago at Ikeja. They said there had been problem fighting after competition. That's what I wanted to do at that time. We are now getting old. After competition, the first time that they did not fight was when I adjudicated music. I have the evidence. I have the evidence here. You see, I have the evidence here. You see, competition adjudicated for dioceses and archdeaconry of Anglican, the Boys and Brigade, and then the Methodist Highway Lagos, Methodist Youth and Methodist Church Calabar, then the EQUA at Port Harcourt, the Can Women Wing of Calabar, then the Anglican Youth Sports. They also had their musical competition. Then the God's Kingdom Society. In fact, that was where I started in 1988. And there was nowhere that anyone complain, because I will have my analysis of what we are doing from the beginning. Maybe when next I will read, maybe one of the analysis, maybe not today because of time. And that is why that is why there will never be fight. What transpires from the beginning of the choir processing, all what transpires, when you're on the stage and when you are out of the stage, each will hear their own. I got all these ideas from Nwokedi, from Mr. Okunsoya. These are the two people. These are the two people I will always be talking. In England, I talked about them. I mentioned them. And God so good, the particular month I was mentioning them at Liverpool Cathedral, because I was taken to Liverpool Cathedral to do Old Man River, and my picture and my name was in the what do you call it, in the quarterly magazine, especially the encomium that the Lord Mayor of Epping gave me, that he has never heard, that I've been hearing Old Man River in my life, but I've never heard this type of interpretation before. You know what? I was very happy. I was on top of the world, because I am also shaping the culture of Nigerian, understand, the status of Nigerian music, understand, of Nigerian art, yes. Because if I could be put in their, or engraved in their quarterly magazine, and they talk about a Nigerian doing this, a Nigerian doing that. So I give kudos to Mr. Nwokedi, as well as others also, Then the book that I wrote then, it was because of the concept that I drew from them that made me write the African Sacred Oratorio. I know it's not popular, the African Sacred Oratorio, exactly like the Messiah, but it is titled Bibo Jesu, the African Sacred Oratorio Bibo Jesu. Dr. Meshida, it was in 1994 that we launched it at St. Peter's Faji. Dr. Meshida.
Yeah, we are coming back to Dr. Meshida and everything, definitely. But I quickly want us to quickly clarify a few things. Thank you for mentioning the likes of Sir Meka Nwokedi, Mr. Kehinde, then Prosperous Equipment. Yeah, earlier you mentioned Pa Hector Labinjo. Could you please tell us a bit more about Pa Hector Labinjo in relation to Professor Vida? You said you met Pa Hector Labinjo. Could you tell us more about him? Who was he?
There's something they call, pastors usually say that my spiritual father. So, contrary-wise is how Mr. Kehinde Okunsoya is to Pa Hector Olabinjo. If you want to know whom Hector Olabinjo is, then try and understand the discipline and the artistic efficacy of Papa Phillips, or Bayomi Phillips, at CMS Church Cathedral. Both of them, I usually call them twins musician, because they display same integrity, they display same same discipline. Understand? It's like note for note, crotchet for crotchet, quiver for quiver. If you add any other thing, Papa will shout on you. Papa Phillips, no. Go back to this third line. He had that discipline. The same with only 4 months that I used with Papa Hector Labinjo. That man is a, and then another discipline that I saw about both of them also is when they play the propensity that you could bring out from Papa James Adekunle of Holy Trinity, a Butero. That is, the body will stand on the organ, will stand on the organ unshaken, while it is only the feet and the hands will be moving. That was what I noted about Olabinjo. Then Papa, Dr. Vida happens to be music son. Yeah, music son, because that was how he sent me, that his Dr. Vida, his son, because it was Papa Hector Olabinjo that trained Dr. Vida when he was a choir boy or something like that. Yeah, when he was a choir boy. He says, so I'm sure that Papa is going to help you. And when I got there also, I saw my brother is also an organist, but is a psychedelic. It's a psychedelic organist where the body is shaking, the head will even almost hit the keys and things like that. But these people, what I learned in them is stability when on the organ. It is only, especially Papa Phillips. Wow. And I heard that when Papa Phillips got to England, even at St. Paul's, England, the organist there would not play. It is true. I heard it. I heard it also from, I think, from when Dr. Vida was giving me short history. He loved me. He took pity on me. Somebody who came right from Lagos, so many thousands of kilometers, and came to this place, a whole university, and is playing F sharp throughout. Understand? He saw the something in me, the will to do in me, and that was why it said so many things to me that I must have forgotten by now. So I just want to say that he is, Papa Hector Labinjo is a mentor to Dr. Vidal, and he confirmed. If anybody says that, I will say, because this one is, I heard it, and he sent me. So okay. That one cannot be demonstrated. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
that's
yeah.
Then, just
so
a quick
that
one.
is what I can say about both of them.
Thank you so much. Then a quick one. Then you also drew a connection to Obayomi Phillips. That's
yes. Can I quickly say something about that?
Please.
Yeah, my father was a cathedral organist also. They call him cathedral organist. I don't know why, because he was playing at Baptist Church at Oladele. They call it Ijero Baptist Church. But he was a very good friend to T.K.E. Phillips. They are like twins, both of them. Yes, T.K.E. Phillips usually came to our house at number 74, Bola Street, Ebutemeta. When I was, I'm talking of 1968, 1969. Then he will say, he will usually call me small boy. Small boy, I'll say, yes, sir. Go to the organ. You know, the hoddy-goddy organ, we call it fakafiki.
Yeah.
If you don't press it and whine it, it's not going to sound. So he will ask me to go on the organ. Then the only song that I could play then was the old national anthem. So do so mi fa so do so do mi so. And after doing that, he will say, "Oh, good boy." So which other one do you know? Then I will say, my father taught me so mi re do re mi so do ti so so fi so. Oh, the name is this. Stop that. The name is a Bodilon or something like that. So after that, we will move on his. He had one rally bicycle, white rally bicycle. He will live. I never knew where he was living then. But my father usually invited my father to the cathedral. That was when General Yakubu Gowon, the head of state, then the military head of state, usually read the second lesson at the cathedral. So my father was not the cathedral organ, but he will invite him there to play. Maybe one hymn, on the other one, and then after that, maybe in another 3 or 4 months, or when they're having something, especially when Prince Charles came to Nigeria, then my father was invited. I don't know whether by Obayomi Phillips this time around, but I was not in the time that I was in Ghana then or something like that. So that is what I can remember for now about
Thank you
it.
so much. Yeah, I think, this is quite interesting because you took us back to some important conversation and provide some unique perspectives also to these names. At each time we have this particular session, people mention these pioneers in one way or the other, and I'm happy you also mentioned them and also bringing into the fore the likes of late Professor Vida. Thank you so much. Now let's talk about you and your works in the broadcasting. Broadcasting in Nigeria. Let's talk about that a bit. Yeah, so I think from the late 80s to sometimes late 90s or early 2000, there was this weekly radio program, Sunday night at the organ, which I think, which contributed significantly to the public appreciation of organ music and hymn singing. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about this Sunday program. So when did this program? When did the program start? When was the beginning? Can you tell us about the beginning of the program? Who started the program? Who launched the initiative?
Thank you very much. It was when I was in the aircraft that I quickly drafted because I was so busy. Yeah. Sunday night at the organ. Let me quickly say what I remember. I think it was around 1980 something, not even 1990 something or so, or thereabout. That's a mistake. I know. I supposed to have gone to my file to quickly see what. But I said, let me quickly say something so that I don't waste much time. I said that program was the Sunday night at the organ was initiated by Moses Obalowo, Reverend Moses Obalowo, who was then at All Saints Yaba. I think he saw me and he said, "Are you Fadina? Do you know Lekon Fadina?" I said, "Lekon Fadina, yes, it's my brother. Do you know Sheson?" I said, "Oh, Sheson, that is the one I followed. Understand? And that is our firstborn. That one just died in January." I said, "Yes, Sheson Fadina." So I said, "Wow, I know your family." Blah 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 blah, something like that. And then through that, I was brought into the limelight of that program. He told me that there's a program that he intends to do. And then I wanted to shift it to another person because I said, really, my major is singing and writing. I write a lot. I said, I wanted to shift. He said, no. But you play at church, St. David's Church. I said, yes, but he said, no, but I know you'll be able to do it. Not that I couldn't, but I took that task and then we started. So that was when he was the director of religion department at Federal Radio Corporation. So I went there, and then as a live program, we started then. Then it's just like, I call it an extension of Hour of Prayer. You must have been hearing of Hour of Prayer on Radio Nigeria. Also, it's an extension of that Hour of Prayer that they usually did every Sunday, early morning on Sunday. And then you remember Dayo Akinrumbi also. They are having they call their own organ, church organ music or something like that at Radio Nigeria, Radio Lagos at Ikeja. Meanwhile, that Radio Lagos, I was also doing a program, a twin program there, which they call Kasunlayo. So many people knew me through that program. Kasunlayo, Radio Lagos, Àárín ọ̀sẹ̀, òpin ọ̀sẹ̀, with my co-presenters were Olalomi Ejire and Seun Agbola, and so on and so forth. So Sunday organ music at FRCN was manned by Reverend Moses Obalowo when he was shepherding at All Saints Church at Yaba. Sorry about that, I put that one down when I was in the aircraft. He was the director of religion department. He commissioned me then to do it, which I finally accepted. I remember that a slim stipend was given then. Anyway, I never gave heed to that. It was a lucrative program. It wasn't a lucrative program or seemed to be a lucrative program in any way, but it was a station program. At radio, they usually have sponsored program or station program. When they say station program, which means there's no money coming in from outside. It's only maybe advertisement or things like that. But when the radio manager calls you one morning and starts to shake his head, know that that program has been converted. It is no more radio station program. They are asking you to go out and bring sponsors for that program.
Wow.
And otherwise, they will just scrape it up. Yes, and that was happened then. The Muslim, sorry about that, the Muslim people, Muslim man came as the DJ. And then he said, what is Sunday? I said, what are they doing there? Before we know it, it was cancelled. Then 4 of us were involved. Reverend Moses Obalowo as the holder of the Office of Religion Department, and then Lady Abike Dabiri, who was the anchor of the program. She is now a current CEO of the Nigerians in diaspora. Is now a minister. Is now a minister. Is you'll be hearing of Abike Dabiri. So the stance that I took was to play, and Reverend Olufemi Oyawale was to read the written script, and I would attack very precisely and play through the verses. But at times, maybe 6 verses, no. We just choose 3 verses out of 6 verses. At times, we will read out 2 tunes for hymns having long stanzas, then played in the actual key. I know how to modulate. That is what I usually practice, to modulate, understand, so that it will be relevant to people's hearing. I usually chose the tunes for the program, but most times would ask him for suggestion. I can say, Daddy, please give us suggestion of whatever hymns I know how to merge everything together. And mostly in the midnight was when I would put the repertoire in place, starting with any hymn with martial rhythm. Understand, for the attack purpose, in order to make it interesting to the hearers, like Allegro or a name or two aside to drop the speed later on. Then the second hymn will be a contrast to the first one, a gentle reason, and so on and so forth. Then how I chose it is not that I will sit down and start choosing. No, maybe when I'm in the brigade practice, then if you're in music, there's no how. That spirit, a certain spirit, artistic spirit must wear you. Understand? Especially when we caught one armed robber at Alagbon, then I was asked to Anini. Everybody still remember Anini. Anini that nearly killed all Nigerians. I was the person in charge of his case, not his case, but in charge of his fingerprinting him when they brought him to the CID, and so on and so forth. So I wrote to make it a complete program for the week. Then it will be put together and delivered to the presenter, that is Reverend Oyawale, to read it out. Then who would put the hymns and all the references on all the references. Then this is how we usually did it. Welcome once again, our pleasurable listeners, on their #1 radio station, Radio Nigeria 1 Ikoyi, Lagos, on the program Sunday Night at the Organ. This segment promises to be a mercurial one, influenced by the character of Jocund and Praise, as we present the first hymn titled, All Hail the Power of Jesus' Name. It was written by James Elliot of 1899 to the tune Diadem. It was popularly known or called a national anthem of the Christendom. The lyrics was written by Edward Peronet, which first appeared in the year 1799. Let's sit back for the first hymn titled, All Hail the Power of Jesus' Name. Pam, pam, param, and so on and so forth. That was the life of there. But meanwhile, something first of all discouraged us, the Okaku. The Okaku caught us inside that place because Mr. Kendi Okonsai, that was another place that we were together in the music scene, apart from Aroloya. I've left Aroloya, I've come to St. David's Church. So now I found myself again at the FRCN choir. And also doing my solos, doing my everything they only love me because of my interpretation. You can't be a soloist and then you don't have interpretation. Like when you sing, let me take something very, very small. Oh God, our help in ages past, not ages, we all know that. Our hope for years to come, you can break. But listen to this. Third and the fourth line, choirs still make that mistake till tomorrow. And that is why most of the time we fail them in the competitions. A shelter from the stormy blast and our eternal home, not from your blast. And is a conjunction, for God's sake. And is a conjunction. Understand? So these are the things that I usually teach in my 6 hours. I usually do 6 hours music workshop. I did it for the Methodists in Calabar. I did it for the Presbyterian Calabar. I did it for the Lutheran Church in Calabar. If Calabar people on this line, they will understand what I'm talking about. To an extent that in the whole street of Calabar, wherever I go, oh, the music man. Oh, the music man. And I'm strange. I'm not a Calabar person, but I only relocated to Calabar for some time for a reason. Understand? Wow. But the whole of Calabar has known me because of
thank you so much, sir. Now, thank you. This is quite interesting and fascinating. For those who are joining us newly, today we are with Prince. We are hosting Prince Ope Fadina. Of course, you can see what is going on already, and I'm excited because of this important history and perspective, taking also some of the things we don't even know about. Let's stay tuned and, of course, follow us as we proceed in this process. So, Prince Fadina, you mentioned of course, the beginning, the starting. You said Reverend Falowo brought you in. I will get back to that. But you also mentioned something in between, the Radio Nigeria choir, the FRCN choir.
Yes, FRCN choir, yeah.
Okay, 2 points I want you to quickly help us. Let's make some connections. The first one is, what year did you join the radio programming? That's one. The second one, tell us about your connection with the FRCN choir. Who was the leader then? Where were they? What were they doing at the time?
Mr. Kayode Oni, there are 2 of them that I knew with the radio choir. The first person, when I joined, that should be That should be 19, is it 1985 or 86? That was, anybody who remembers the coup, the Oka coup against Babangida will know, because I don't know what is now happening with my head. So during the time of Babangida was when I heard about FRCN choir. I've not even started doing the Sunday night at the organ, but somebody introduced it to me, and when I entered there, they said, "Oh, the practice is about to start. It's around 6:30." When I entered, the person I saw was Mr. Kendi Okunsaya. I said, "Wow, so I can meet this man here again." I know Okunsaya is a very, very good musicologist, experienced musicologist. He was the first person that I saw playing as a real virtuoso on the piano. Understand? So he was the music director for the FRCN choir. So it's radio choir, yeah, it's radio choir. As we have Musical Society of Nigeria, that is exactly how FRCN choir was. I joined them, it was very nice, but the main program, they usually, anybody could invite FRCN choir then, yeah, it's lucrative. Anybody could invite them, but I don't have forgotten whether I followed the choir out to anywhere except the 9 lessons carol. That was the major program that FRCN choir was known for, and it usually attracted people from different classes all over. Even when Westerners came to Nigeria for holiday, they were usually invited there. We usually have white. Yes, we usually had white among the viewers. I say. So I met Kendo Kunsoya, and then it was very nice repertoire all around then. But when Okaku came, we thank God that we did not die. They took over radio, so all of us vanished. And then later on, and someone told me, I think one of the choristers at Aroloya told me that, he said, Barrywhite, FRCN is back. I said, wow, it's a very, very good choir. Maybe I would not even have worried myself if Muzon choir, because Muzon choir now came to be a very, very great choir at the end of the day. So and that was the only choral choir then that was so outstanding as far as I'm concerned. Maybe I've not really spread out to see. Maybe there are 1 or 2 somewhere in the city. So we came back, but unfortunately, we were treated. I'm sorry about that to say that. We were treated like visitors. We made an ample some people, some of the ladies, some of the guys there that we have never seen their faces before. Anyone who was in that choir, when I'm saying, will really understand what I'm talking about. So we sat down, but we were as if we were aliens, and that was the only rehearsal that I never went there again.
Oh,
so
wow.
then that when Kayode Oni took up the baton of the choir.
Wow, great. So quickly on the FRCN choir. So the choir was, of course, according to history, this is well documented, was initiated, not only the choir, it was a kind of interconnected artistic program that was created by Fela Showande in the 1950s, by mid-1950s. The first one was the dance band orchestra, then the FRCN choir, then there's another one. So Fela Showande handed over the baton to Elder Steve Rhodes. Then Steve Rhodes led the choir for a longer time. So what I was trying to connect was when in the 80s, who was in charge? Because Steve Rhodes already had his own programming, traveling with choirs in the 80s, won international competitions, and eventually started his own big band, jazz, all the stuff like that. So the point, who was the director of the choir in that 19? Was it Kendo Kusoya
It was
directing the
Kendi
choir?
Okunsanya. It was, yes, it was Mr. Kendi Okunsanya.
Okay,
Mm.
okay. Then
He
the
was the
next
one I
point,
met there.
yeah, then the next point is you said the Oka Q met you. You mean at the radio or at the organ? Were you recording the organ program or the
At
choir
the
program?
rehearsal. At the rehearsal.
Choir rehearsal.
Rehearsal, yeah.
Okay, okay. That's great. That's great. That's great.
Mm.
So thank you so much. Let's move to the other one quickly. I think the next question I want to ask, let's go back to the Sunday night at the organ conversation. So please, of course, I know the program was so important at the time, but what, in your own opinion, what was the program about? Particularly, what was its objective in terms of programming? What was its objective? What does it, I mean, in terms of aims of the program at the time?
If that time, if we could scale back to the church music at that time, there was not much contemporary music. Understand? There was not much contemporary music then. Like nowadays, that some churches will, even Orthodox churches, will do more of praise and worship than hymns. You don't understand? They will give 15 minutes for praise and worship, and then the hymns they want to sing 2 or 3 out of 6 verses. Understand? So preference was on classical music, in which we can say hymn or chanting is part of classic era of music. Then I think the main something was just to keep just to keep the tradition, the tradition of him singing. You know, we have contemporaries also on radio, many contemporaries on radio, so like the women choir, the things like that from Ibadan and everything. Okay, seeing all these ones happening in all on other radio. What? Let's do something also in federal radio. You can't expect all this bang, 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 on radio one. Yeah, it must be something that has to do with a little bit of classics. There were chantings then, there were hymn singing. So hymn singing, just to encourage hymn singing, just to let you know this, that when I was posted for the national identity card, I was posted to one of the local government, and I visited the office of the chairman there. They said the chairman was not around. Okay, let me just write a note. So I wrote a short note and I put my name, Prince Ope Fadina. One man sitting by me saw it and said, excuse me. I said, yes. This name rings bell. I said, where? He said, on radio. I said, okay, sir. If it is not Radio Lagos, it will be Radio Nigeria. He said, you do hymns. You say, oh. I said that is Radio Nigeria. And the same thing, when I finished that radio, then coming back home, then I will meet Chief. It's now late, Chief Tubogo, with his transistor by his leg there, and then with 3-3 by the left. Enjoying the 3-3 and listening to. So immediately when I came back, you say, oh, Prince, thank you very, very, very much. Hey, Mama Calabar, please give him what he's going to drink, give him what he's going to drink. So people appreciated classic music. And then another thing is that you will see that most of our classic singers are now swapping into contemporary, because maybe that is a talk of another time, because they say there's no money in classical something, but there's money in the other one. I remember in London, I took a Anikulapo Muiwa Kuti. So he came to meet me in London. So we usually performed maybe from oratorio, from solos from oratorio. Then at the end of the day, they will call us and they will give us 50 pounds. And somebody that came to sing, Ghana, blah, 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 blah. We see that 120 pounds. So what is the big deal in what you have done to what we have done here? So this one is making many people to shift. I don't want to mention somebody's name, but she knows herself. She is very, very much with us. We were doing, if in fact we did, when we were doing the remembrance of Fela Showande, if you remember when we were doing centenary year of Fela Showande, yes, I was.
2025.
I was the one that did the bass solo that was chosen when Oparamoge Joseph did the tenor, and then we traveled as far as Abeokuta to his hometown in Abeokuta and everything. This lady I'm talking was with us, but just suddenly I just saw that she has left the classical era because and truly. And she made it. Don't let me say something more than that, but she made it over there. So classical music must not be discouraged, no matter how it is. Hymn singing must take its position in the church, not only in the church. When next again, I will let you know all what happened at Barking and Dagenham, what I did at Barking and Dagenham for 3 years in a program that they call Black History Month. That is when I turned a hourglass, the big yellow, into which replaced the kettle drum. When we sang the national anthem of Nigeria, I wrote what kettle drum or timpani is supposed to do. I wrote it for hourglass, and somebody rehearsed it, and it was great. You see, and this is borrowing classical music into the traditional music.
Great.
So don't let us paralyze. Don't let us paralyze the stance of classical music at all. It must stay. It must stay there. After all, let me quickly chip in this. The church I am now, we will satisfy you with traditional music. It is as if we are in fact, people will say, oh, you guys are the best. Tell us we'll do anything. Tell us we'll do anything. And when it comes to him singing again, it's very, very nice. Very, very nice. So it's good to share those things. So, but Radio Nigeria was not all that into contemporary. Yes. They're not all that into, not on that good. When you are going to hear things contemporary is when people come maybe to book their programs and all this time. So you can't force anybody to do a certain,
Definitely.
But classical music must still be, or nothing should thwart the life of classical music. Is the language of the soul. That is why somebody usually writes it. Forgotten that man, a choirmaster will always put at the back of his as Mr. Adekunle at Holy Trinity usually did then at the back of the program, that music for matured minds. Yeah, it's a music for matured minds. And that is music.
Thank you so much, sir. Wow, thank you. This is quite interesting, and I can see we are already getting deeper into some important connections. I think definitely we are probably going to bring you back again because there's a lot of intersections here and there. I think it's a good, it's a privilege that we are having you today. Indeed, these are things that people will not normally encounter on a normal conversation around it. So let's go back a bit briefly. Let's explore we're discussing the Sunday night at the organ. There's something that I think is very important that you mentioned earlier that I also think we should explore a bit further, and that is the specialty of the program. And again, so can you still recollect or remember the program structure? I think you mentioned it a bit the other time in terms of how you prepare. You said it earlier, weekly focus. How do you curate the weekly programming? And you said the tune selection and other important technical details, or at least, yeah, the programming. So what were the choices that shape your selection at the time? What were the choices? You said, yeah, because you go out. Was this just the dynamic that shaped, or are there other structure, institutional directory that shaped the programming at the time, at the structure?
Yeah, thank you very much for that question. The only area that I remember, I just remember that one now, that there was one season like that I wrote Benson, then Dowells, and then when I presented it to Reverend Oyawale, he looked at it and said, "Oh," he said, "Prince." I said, "Sir, do you know the season that we are?" I said, "So will it be done according to season again?" I said, "Sir, as well, I said, you are right, but this thing is not church program." Do you understand what I'm trying to talk about? This thing is not church program. I don't think we should do it according to season. Then, but and another important something that I added is that during the Passion Week,
Yeah.
and when we are having Good Friday, it is not good to start saying, do 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 mi mi so do mi re do la la. No, we have Aberist with, we have
Okay.
Ebenezer. La la ti do ti la pa ti di 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 di. So we were very careful about selections. When he said that, I almost remonstrated it, but later on I understood why he said it. And I said, well, in my mind, I cannot also make that mistake. Understand? Even actually, it is not every time. In most of the passion something, we still have MF. We still have F, even though we have most of the P, most of the PP. So the selection, as far as I'm concerned, then was not that when maybe I had to sit down and start to think. It is maybe I am passing in church. There was one time that I was passing in church in front of Tinumbu. That was the first time in my life I heard about the tune. I just mentioned it now. Benson. Mi re do do re mi fa so la so fa mi re so do la ti do. When I heard it, I said, "Wow!" I had to go. That was the first time I entered into that church. I had to go there. Please, that music they say is in Methodism book, so, and so on. So I got there. Immediately, I put it down for Sunday night at the organ. So since I saw that that one has a something like volante, so I look for another ones that had something like appassionato and something like doloroso. So that is how I put those programs in place. Then if somebody like you, maybe you are the warden of the choir, you might not know. I say, "Oh, brother, so which music, I mean, which tune do you like bass in church, something?" You can tell me, you can say, it's Bishop Garth. I say, "Wow, Bishop Garth." Then I'll put it down again. There was one time that the brigade was singing, I said, "Wow, this one." I was just passing. I saw that the brigade was doing that. So immediately I put that one down again, making 4, because we have 4. Understand? Because we have to target 28 minutes. It was 30 minutes program, but we have to target 28 minutes because of advertisement. Yeah. So that was how I was putting those things. And at times, I will be on the organ when maybe the reverend was preaching. Then he's talking about Peter coming to the boat. And then, choir, could you help me sing this song? So mi re do titi la do so fa mi mi. I said, wow, this one. Then I will sign to Oyawale, "Sir, this one is good to start with this one. You know, we have been starting with Marcia. Can we do something just a little bit? He said, okay. You're just on your own something. So concerning the program, that was, in fact, that was the simplest thing ever. Just to put the program. The only thing is to put them one after the other to assure their contrast. The contrast, that is only what you can't just go there and then you fly up again, and then not coming down. Even when you are angry with someone, at least there's a time that the one would rethink again and say, what I'm doing is very bad. So that was how we
balance of the programming, right? We're balancing the program.
Just to balance. It was not a sponsored program. It was not a sponsored program. Then when before that program was scraped off, I was told to go and find sponsor. Fortunately, I was living inside the embassy of Greece then. You'll be surprised when I say I was living inside the embassy of Greece. Mr. Sir Emeka Nwokedi was the music consultant to the embassy of Greece around 2004, 2005, thereabout. And then later on, I don't know what happened, maybe he relinquished it or something like that. So I wrote one music that we performed at Musical Society of Nigeria. You must have heard Mozart. When we were doing 150 years of Mozart. So it was, in fact, it was a grand something. So that was how the ambassador heard. Ambassador of Greece was there. That is Haris Dafaranos, His Excellency Haris Dafaranos. Then he called on me and said, he said, okay, you are the one who wrote the music. I said, yes. Can I have you in my office, please? He said, I am Ambassador Harris. Oh, beautiful. And that's why I got there. So I became so then I was nearly speaking Greek language. And then the wife happens to be a poetess. And I turned nearly all her poems into music. So he was the first person I asked of the sponsorship. I said, sir, I belong to the radio, blah, 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 blah. And we're looking for sponsorship. It's okay, Prince, whatever you tell me, we'll do. But that will never ended until that program was scraped off the line then. And then I'm not sure whether somebody came to revive it. I'm not very sure whether somebody came later to revive it.
Okay. Thanks so much, Prince. Thank you. So let's move to the next one quickly, which is, okay, this is very important. I think this is now bringing everything together under this session. So the program was mostly recorded at the organ at where? Is it at St. Peter's Faji or St. John's?
No, at anywhere. We did it here and there. But the place we did it most was at St. David's Church. Yeah, St. David's Church. Yeah, at St. David's Church. I think there was one we did. Was there anyone we did at St. Peter's? I'm not very sure. But there was one we did. We spoke to Mr. Martins of St. Paul's, because St. Paul's Breastfruit is my family church. Yeah, I think we did one at St. Paul's Breastfruit. Yeah, St. Paul's Breastfruit. And it was between St. Paul's Breastfruit and then another one at Aja, also St. Peter's Aja. Yeah, at St. Peter's Aja. That was when Reverend this Reverend, who is one of the managers, Olu Oshewa, one of the sub-managers at Chevron then. Yeah.
Wow.
It was not really. It was not really. It's recorded. It was recorded. It was recorded program.
Okay.
It was recorded program. Not that we did it live on the
Okay.
radio.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I think
Yeah.
the question then would be, what are the processes did the recording followed? And who were the technical crew? I mean,
Ah,
yeah.
it
How was
is
it
the
done?
only.
The recording
Yeah.
process, yeah.
Yeah. The only person that could. When after the recording, I would take it to radio to meet Erewa, Abike Dabiri. Then Abike Dabiri will take it to the studio. I think it is inside the studio, they will boost it and clean it, understand, to make it ready for, to make it ready for. So none of the crews did I know then.
Okay.
None of
Then,
the
I
crews
mean,
did I
your
know.
own recording process, starting at the organ, how did you went about that?
Ah,
How was that, the process?
it was hell. Jesus.
How?
There was one time. There was one time at Aja that we finished. Aja is very cool, very, very quiet place. That's why we chose Aja then. We have finished. Then this man, Oyawale, Reverend Oyawale, was trying to round up. And that is the last hymn for today on the program Sunday night at the organ. The next edition will be coming to you. We know, oh, Lord, Buruku. Somebody came inside, was abusing somebody somewhere. That was how we had to start again. You have to start again. And then I advised a reverend. I said, you know what we're going to do? I think if we don't bring one police, we better bring one soldier. When people see a soldier man standing somewhere, it will be to your tent, O Israel. So he was laughing at me. But we managed that we usually had someone around that will do excuse me, something is happening because at times sweepers might want to come in that they don't know what you are doing inside there. Someone might say, oh, because one came in one day, I say, Moti, and started shouting. Because then, thank God, we just started that day. We have to clean it up. We have to start again. I think somebody forgot her headgear inside the church. So that is why I said hell. You see, except someone goes inside the lagoon.
So I think the
Inside the
question is,
lagoon.
okay, fine. I'm so happy about this social context and the dynamics that shaped the recording. So who was the video cameraman? Is it from the radio station or personally sourced from you, or were you the one also doing the setup of the camera for yourself? And yeah.
Yes, we usually invited someone. Maybe from the choir.
Oh.
At times from the brigade. We
To
make
do the
sure that
recording.
person really knows about it. And the only thing that we try to make him know something, that when the pastor look at the script, this is a script, when he's doing this, immediately he finishes saying, and then saying this particular word, then just come to me in order to catch a hand, in order to catch something. So that was how we did it. We managed ourselves, and that actually we are not professional in that line, but we knew what we could do in order to make it a success.
Wow. So
Yeah.
were you recording with camera? Of course, there's no smartphone then, or with audio devices, or Walkman.
No, not with camera, but we were using one gadget. It was Reverend Oyawale that brought that gadget. So what I usually say that when you finish, understand, just to pick the voice very well. once you pick the voice, just come to the, you understand? Just come to the organ so that because I said that because there's sometimes that the organ will be coming so faintly, and the organ will come so faintly and things like that. So the reader and the player will always be side by side, beside my side. And because we had there's some that we will do that people will say, we're not hearing very well. It was as if wind was carrying the something. I said, so what is the problem? Is it from us, or should it be from those who edited it in the studio, or what was happening? It was not every time that the thing was quite perfect. There are sometimes that we had some issues. And there is sometimes also that after about 12, 13 minutes, the sound will be off.
Wow.
For so many minutes.
Why?
You know, because of Nigerian factor, maybe no the light now. The issue of light. The issue of light has been for a very long time now. Which is very bad. And then but we were able to manage. Concerning the crew members, I'm not sure I knew any of the crew.
No, when I mean the crew, I was talking about the person playing the organ, the person reading. So you were the one playing the organ.
Yes, I was the one playing, and Reverend Olufemi Oyawale was the one reading.
Okay.
Was the one reading.
Wow.
Then with another person that was recording.
Who was the person? Okay, you changed the person.
Anyone that we saw around will be picked. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's great. Thank you so much. Now let's do one more on this level, then move to the next one as we close for today. So the program stopped exactly when? Early 90s or when? When did the program stop?
It should be in the 90s. It should be in the 90s, but I don't remember now. I don't remember.
Because I remember clearly, early 2000, the program was still on every Sunday evening. Early 2000 until sometimes around 2004, we were still.
Yeah, even though when we stopped recording, the program, you know, they had it in the library. And those that had been archived, thank God we were not talking about date.
Wow.
You understand? We are not talking about date. Yeah. We're not talking about it. So after we had stopped, there are a series of the program that at times I will tell somebody sitting by me listening to that program, as I said, this program you are looking at, it was like a hell. This was the one we were recording at Aja when somebody shouted, my headgear had been found. And this one, this is one we recorded when somebody shouted Olori Buruku, and all this type of things. It's quite interesting. It's quite arts. Anything arts is interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So I think then we can perhaps, of course, you said a Muslim came, particularly, maybe this is now tied to the politics, the Nigerian politics. So one administration came and the other one came. And because the king that does not know Joseph.
Yeah. I tried my possible best. I love the program. Later on, I think I got myself glued to the interest of that program, and most especially hearing people listening to the program. You know, on Sunday after church, somebody will just come and say, I will give me maybe 10 naira. You know the worth of 10 naira then. That was when 20 naira was the highest denomination. Prince, I love that. I love the edition. Why don't you be doing that? We can't do the same songs every time. Uncle, what do you mean by doing that every time? It's not possible. It should be in series. Anything radio program must be in series, not only one thing. People loved it. People enjoyed it. People loved it. People enjoyed it. And
after the program ended, another program came. I think later another program came with a bit of a shift from your own program. And that one was
Okay.
called Hymns of Praise. This was Reverend
Okay.
Obalo's show.
I think
Any
I've left
connection?
Nigeria then.
Sir?
I've left Nigeria then.
Oh, so is there any connection? I think Obalo was now hosting Hymns of Praise.
No. Hymns of praise. I think hymns of praise is hymns of praise was before Sunday night at the organ.
Because after
Yes, because
that year,
when he was talking to me, he said, Prince, there is one program we call, yes, hymns of praise, that we want to step it forward now, just to give it a new look, understand, to make it just like a new program on radio. And that was why they tagged that one as Sunday night at the organ. Yeah. I think
perhaps,
it was hymn of praise that metamorphosed into Sunday night at the organ.
if that's the case, it means they were playing the recorded archive of Hymns of
Yeah,
Praise, because
of course.
until 2007, 2010,
Jesus Christ.
Hymns of Praise was still played.
Was it played?
On every Sunday, in the evening.
Even the 2010 you are talking about, I was the one who conducted the mass choir at O2 Prince Regent in London.
Wow.
I know you must have been in that place. That's with that number. Prince Regent is when you are at Stratford, when you take DLR, Dockland Light Railway Station. And then you take something going to Prince Regent. Then O2, that was where we celebrated. And that was where I was able to meet General Yakubu Gawan and introduce myself to him.
Wow.
He hugged me, and I was very, very happy that he hugged me, even though no president of Nigeria has ever hugged me. Yeah. Then I think it was Golden Jubilee anniversary. Yeah. Golden Jubilee anniversary. Yeah. That we celebrated it over there. We celebrated it over there, and it was very, very colorful. Papa Obasanjo was there. General Yakubu Gawan was there, and all these the high-profile participants gathered there. We did it together. I conducted the choir.
Wow.
But meanwhile, let me thank the RCCG, the Redeemed Christian Church of God. They did wonderfully well. They were the one who used their mass choir. We trained them. And the chorus. Do you know that we trained them just in 5 rehearsals at one place at Oxford Circus? We trained them Hallelujah chorus, and we sang it there.
Wow.
They sang the Hallelujah chorus there. That was in 2010. So if they were playing it in Lagos on radio then, which means it's all those recorded versions that were playing.
Yes. I think that version was played until, in fact, it also overlapped on another program by now Dr. Okpe Ashaolu in the morning, hosted at TVC Radio. So we now have 2 programs between 2011 or so until 2016-17. The program was running concurrently on Sundays. So we have the one for Okpe Ashaolu in the morning at TVC Radio. Then we'll have the one for Obalo in the evening. So it was an interesting moment. Yeah, and I'm happy we're having this conversation today. It was so interesting. Yeah. So please, let's move a bit. Let's quickly move to the next few questions. I think we should talk about your some other part of the experiences now. So the reality about music making, like other form of music making, behind every organ music tradition are not only performance, but also institutions, technicians, and instrument builders. I remember that most organs on the Lagos Island, including those at St. Peter's Faji and John Aroloya, were being managed or serviced at the time by Mr. Fagbo. So can you share your experiences
Yeah.
with organ technicians or church institutions and how they have influenced the sustainability of organ music in Nigeria?
There is something we usually talk about this one a lot in England. When we see what is happening over there in Western country and what is happening in Nigeria, if not because of what is, Yoruba people will say, if not because of what has come. Because Nigeria is a great country, for God's sake. And that is why when you see our children moving to abroad and then putting them in school, you will see that they are doing fantastically well, even more than the whites. Yes, yes. You see, there are a lot of things, a lot of creditabilities that one could dress we Nigerians with. But you see this technicality, this technical area you are talking about, I put something down. I said, when situation is rosy because I had one experience, permit me not to talk about, I'm sure you remember, or maybe you don't know that I was one time choirmaster.
Yeah.
Choirmaster. That was the time of Abiola, Dr. Abiola. Yeah. That is not for Nigeria anyway, for Lagos chapter. I held that position for about 4 or 5 years. So part of what my experience concerning technicians in Nigeria, and especially our instrument.
Organ.
Yes, what I wrote then, I said, when situation is rosy between the choir setup and the parochial committee of the church, administration in all aspects would beat positive drum. And the positivity would affect the technicians and the instrument in the church. Because there was one time in my church in Ogun State that I think rat entered into the organ. It's a 2-manual organ. And they chopped the cables, and then at times the organ will sound, at times it will stop. And then we said, we need to, this one I'm talking about is something very, very painful. we had meeting, we have to put this in right. The choir does not have pause. Let us tell the church to do it. Do you know that it was even the assistant secretary, after the secretary has written to the parochial committee of the church, it was the assistant secretary that went there, because he's in the meeting, is in their committee, went and told them that, is that the next something in the not something, when we have other things we want to do in the church. We never knew that she was the one that went there to pull everything down, something that we have already built, and something that the head of the patron has already said that they will invite somebody to come and look at it. Understand? So the technicians also don't have to wait. Do you understand? Let the technicians rub mind with because at Dustin Kingsland, that was 2014, I entered into St. Luke's down at Dustin Kingsland, because somebody died. The wife of one of the CAC pastors died, and it was there they wanted to do the burial. So I came there just to see the organ they were looking. Very, very beautiful. Olden days organ. The organ is about 97.
Hello? Hello?
And was one exercise
Yes,
book.
you are back. Yeah,
Hello?
we can hear you now.
Are you hearing me? Exercise book in which the organ technicians usually wrote the time that he came to service the organ. They have their own stipulated time when they will come, maybe once in a year, maybe twice in a year, the overhauling, and then when they will come and blow off anything like dust in the pipes. Yeah. So that is why we usually say that the maintenance culture in Nigeria is not very good in so many areas, not in all areas. Because someone will condemn the whole sphere, the whole areas of it is not so. We still have 1 or 2 out of 12.
Wow.
Out of continual mention. Then the technicians also, our technicians should advise. That is real where I am going. Why not write letter? Because all these people, they don't know. The maintenance culture is not in this country, all that. You write them that I am a technician, organ technician. This is what we do. This is what we'll do. You do not wait until the organ does not even talk again. You do not wait. What about coming to check the cables? What about coming to check the speakers? Like our church organ now, we have something on the floor like this. We have the bass speaker on the floor, very big, something like that, over here and at the other side. They were using it as table now. Organ speaker. I have said my own thanks to that number to an extent that when I put my foot on the pedal, on the organ pedal, the water, because that is where they place the communion wine something. Then it's that thing will vibrate, and that will be, and nobody will go there to take it off there. You see what we are talking about? You see? So automatically when such a thing happens, before you know it, something will be wrong. Maybe one cable will be displaced from inside. Technicians don't wait to be called. They have to write, because you are writing people who are ignorant about your profession. That is number one. You are writing people who do not know the essence of your profession in what they are using in the church. Do you know that even some organists and some even choirmasters don't even know about what, when it comes to putting things in, putting an instrument in place? Even ordinary keyboard here, I have one duster that I'll use to clean anything dust on the something, and I don't wait. I will never wait. Understand? For something to happen before you do. Maybe when you call in the technicians will say, only God says you people should quickly call me. You would have burnt this particular brain, then which is going to cost you maybe something like 1.5 million. But how much it is now? It is only 110,000, for God's sake, and that thing will be put in place. But if you don't call technicians to come, that thing will be there. Maybe it is burning bit by bit until the whole panel is gone. That is what people are waiting for. That is not good enough.
Wow. Thank you so much.
We have been touting maintenance culture. Who wants to bail the cat? And then if you tell somebody to bail the cat, it will tell you that, so it is my own head. You want some to use to break coconut. That is the next something that is not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be, especially in Christendom, and especially we choristers, the organ culture, the voice culture, everything culture. We must know one thing or the other to put in place to make that thing real culture. Wow. The Oyimbos will come, they will see your kakaki. They will take your kakaki over there. You will see beagle. Before you know it now, they say that there's another one, they do like, oh, that one will become trombone. Then our own gudu, when we are talking of mediophone, membranophone, aerophone, and whatever for chordophone, They will, whatever phone we are using, they will just, their own is just to see it like this. And then before you know it, it becomes another thing over there. And when it becomes that thing, they maintain it, for God's sake. They maintain it. So technicians are not doing up to what they are supposed to do.
Wow.
It's not a matter of, oh, they will say, maybe I'm hungry. That is, no, you are helping them. You are helping them, not that you are hungry. Because you are telling them what they do not know. Let them write the church.
Wow.
Yes, yes, let them write the church. And then the choir master, okay, this is something for the parochial committee or for the PCC of the church. It's concerning your instrument. That is what I do. I don't wait for people to start buying or to start ordering. What about before the order comes? Then what you're supposed to have done in just like 35 minutes to put together in 35 minutes will be something that, oh, we are still waiting for ship to come and deliver.
Now, let's go for one more as we round up around there. So this is very important. And after this, then we can give a final note. So what I want to say now is where I'm trying to tie it back to some of your experiences in the recording and the playing over the years. And also you travel wide in terms of working in Nigeria and England and other places, different layers of these two countries and other places. So because of this, is it correct from your own experience? Would you say perhaps that approaches and styles of hymns playing, we are being specific of hymns now, hymns playing in Nigeria are different compared to how organists play in places like England and other places? The question here is we are trying to see, is there anything that distinguishes Nigerian sound, styles of hymns playing, within the Nigerian context or the England context, or there's nothing like that, that people just play organ? So what's your own take on this?
I've said something like this where I think, yes, I think it was in England, I said something like this. You see, in that, what I can only say about that is English playing is too strict. English playing is too strict. That is number one. And that is where Papa cultivated his style. Papa Obayomi Phillips.
Yeah.
You play to note, you play exactly what is there. What is there. I'm sure if he had seen me play before, he would have said, gentlemen, stand up there, go home. Why do I say that? Let me quickly, before I make any example, I say it is too strict because the English, the Westerners, for example, they are organists. They play to note what they say in the note. If they want to do anything that is apart from that, it should be at the last verse. Their own style of playing. It should be whatever he wants to do is at the last verse. That's number one. Then secondly, and whatever he's doing again should be from a certain text, like organ unison. And that is when they play it. All of us will say, no, 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 my head is swollen, blah, 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 and things like that. But we tend to overdo it here.
How?
You understand? We overdo it in the sense that I have been at Yanopaja, one Catholic church. Do titi la sola so fa mi re mi fa sola fa re do tom piti ta ti ta 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 ti ta 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 ti ta 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 ta. Just like Tom and Jerry, you see, that one goes, then later on, When he wanted to come in again, this guy did not have that, I will call it that musical integrity to put the congregation in line. He has already gone to almost the second line before the choir even realized that he was in the second verse. So that is not very okay. That's not very okay. There is nothing bad in improvisation. There's nothing bad in improvisation. But when we improvise, let the improvisation come at the third verse, if that hymn is 4 verses. Yes. Even at times, I usually do something. I usually go higher again on the song in modulation from F just to F sharp. And they will come unto thee. Pam, 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 pam. I've already gone already. Then tam, tariri. That one is very clear. That one is okay. Rather than to do most of something at the end of the day, you will see this one will say, I don't even understand what he's doing. This one will say, I don't even understand what he's doing, and so on and so forth. But my church in England, my style here, I took it over there. I don't know whether anyone also does that style. I believe I'm still in line of what you have asked.
Yeah, I'm asking, is there, is it, I mean, yeah, we try to compare. And from there, perhaps, can we now say we have our own way of playing hymns in Nigeria?
Yes, yes. I mean, that is why I'm saying their own way of playing is quite straightforward and strict. Yes, it is strict. It is strict. Why I say it is strict is that, for example, at All Saints Church of England, All Saints Church of England, Theophilus, who was a warden, that church is a very, very old church. It's a Bournemouth, I think Bournemouth Street at Leighton. We call that place Baker's Arms. You see, I played for them as a volunteer organist for 10 years. Yeah, but mostly even songs. Understand? I remember what I did one day. I never know what came inside my head. It was this Bishop Gaff. Yeah, Bishop Gaff. At the end, and I now use my interlude. Kò bàjẹ́ o, kò bàjẹ́ o, iṣẹ́ Olúwa kò bàjẹ́ o, taranti tantiram tam, I tam. And in fact, I almost take, I think I almost took 70 pounds home that day. They loved it, and they do that again. Will you do that? Will you do that again? That was what I was hearing. And truly, and do you know that that was why I now introduced this thing to them that I've been doing in Nigeria, that is putting descant. I learned that one from Mr. Kendi Okunsaya in 1984. Then I started doing it. It's not easy to infusion of African idiom into Western idiom in form of descant. Yes, like that was do mi do so mi do. Then the descant comes out do mi sia fom tierentio wo sia fom tierentio wo. Boy kondo, boy kondo, boy kondo. That is Calabar language, cross-river language. And it will go coincidentally from the beginning to the end. That is the descant to dowels. Then I have, so that is one of my.
How is that possible?
So we will do it. Maybe when next. So it will go from the beginning to the end.
Have you tried this with your choir in Lagos or in London?
Of course. We did it at the at the at Barking and Dagenham. Yes, Barking and Dagenham Black History Month. It was what caught the interest of the people most.
Wow.
Most at Barking and Dagenham. It was what caused the interest of people most. We did it, and even what part of what I did there also was chanting with a traditional tune. Like you say, Ojo Yaku ni wura ola baje, Ojo Babaku ni jigi ola woyin. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Ghost, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen.
Okay, a question for you quickly. Sorry, before you move on, sorry to interrupt you, of course. What you are doing now, how do you compare it with early practice of what we call native airs? Late 19th century, early 20th century Nigeria, where we have Nigerian composers, Nigerian organists, who now take indigenous tune and put new Christian word to them. Can you draw any connection to that? What you just did right now, because it's the same thing that we can make the same case for Isheolua. We can make the same case for there's this popular one by Fela Showande. I'm trying to remember that song. These are ritual songs, and scholars, organists are bringing them out and putting new lyrics and taking them to church. That's exactly what. Can we draw connection?
Okay. If this one could address it, this is the one I did last before I came to Nigeria. I said traditional music and its literature. Traditional music and its literature. That is understanding music from literary perspective. That is having to do with two compositional textures. That is in African value and in Western value. Let me give an example. I don't know whether somebody would be online who will help us with the composer of Bo Fokunweri. Bo Fokunweri o Botun Fosa Wese. You know this thing. Thank
It is by the is not no not is it Olaolude? Okay, I don't know. But it's a common, yeah. There's a piece of that song from different year.
I did this, and that was, I'm telling you what made me to take first in competition in England. Yeah. So I said that, and I interpreted it. I said, ye may wash thy head in beach waters, or the sole of thy feet in deep rivers. Know ye that he who Yahweh washes glitters in both soul and body. So, and I said, people should listen to me. I said, you believe to me. I said, in Western form, that is, in traditional Western form, you could sing this as Bo fokun weri o, bo tun fosa wese. Saint Cecilia tune. Ẹni tí Jésù wẹ̀ ló mọ̀ tọkàntara. When I interpreted what I've just sung in English, in Western form, it is not really describing the literature of what I have just explained, that I've just explained in English from Yoruba to English, but it is bending the meaning, that idiom, into another meaning. Let me sing that again. Then it's now turning that okun to okun, that is rope. Then then I now told them about what is called major and minor idioms. I said major idiom is the real language where you come from. And the minor idiom is which other language that you understand to speak. And I said something to them that my major idiom, which is Yoruba, is Bo fokun weri o, bo tun fo sawese. Ẹni Jésù wẹ̀ ló mọ́tò ọkàn tara. And I don't want to explain too much on that, so I not to take time. I said they should look at the 2 minutes. So the Yorubas that were in the hall, yes, that is it, that is it, that is it. I said, okay, everybody keep quiet. Everybody keep quiet. Now listen to this again. Let me digress a little bit. I said the second minor idiom, and as far as traditional form in Nigeria is concerned, then I gave them that I'm going to Hausa now. Ẹni Jésù wẹ̀ ló mọ́tò ọkàn tara. Bó fokùn wẹ̀rí bó tún fò ṣàwẹ́sẹ̀. Ẹni Jésù wẹ̀ ló mọ́tò ọkàn tara o. Bó fokùn wẹ̀rí bó tún fò ṣàwẹ́sẹ̀. Ẹni Jésù wẹ̀ ló mọ́tò ọkàn tara. They said, well, it was, they clapped everywhere, there was applause everywhere, and so on and so forth. So I now said to them, what I've just done is a strange cultural sound that is in different local languages, tonal or musical languages, in Western form, and in also African form, which is from Nigeria. So I only shed more light again. I say faculty of sound as revealed in Western style and African style. And the reason artistic maestros have encouraged writing and rewriting music in our own tonal value, because somebody has said it that why not, instead of all these hymns, why don't we also do our own thing, write our own hymns? And that is what you will find. You'll find most of them, many of them like that, behind the Yoruba hymn book.
Mm. Wow.
Yeah,
yes,
they are
yes,
behind all this. They are behind Yoruba hymn book.
Definitely.
But do we go there? Do we go there? Most of us don't go there. We hardly sing those things. What about Mayokun? Yes, we have Mayokun by
Is it Mayokun? Is it Olaolu or
Daodideke?
Daodideke?
Okay, Daodideke. We have Mayokun and we have Mayowa also. But Mayowa is not as popular. Mayowa is not as popular as Mayokun. You see? So.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much. I think on a closing note, what would be your what aspects, or let's put it this way, in sustaining the Nigerian organ and choral music cultures, what will be your advice for new generations emerging and aspiring Nigerian organists, choral directors, music educators, and entrepreneurs? What would be your advice for them in sustaining you said classical music must not die. So what is your advice? How can should it be sustained? What is your advice?
For example, let me put it to say that let us look at those whose parents have taught classical music, have taught how to interpret music notes. And then they have been doing very well. They have been doing this and that. I will tell you one of the reasons why that thing might not work to whatever degree or percentage that we want it to work. Somebody in your church now, let's say you as a musician teaches someone who is in your own mother's church. Understand? The boy now can read, a boy can't play. And then at the other side, maybe he finishes secondary school. There's no job yet. And I usually write to church so that such people could be, those that I trained, I wrote to church, please help this person, help this person. You know, if it is organist, the assistant organist you take, you have to pay. Yes, you have to pay. And at the end of the day, you don't have assistant organists. And these people that are helping, they are saying, no, 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 they are our boys, they are our boys, they are our boys. They will go. And so many have left like that, not left the Christendom I'm talking about, but they have left the classical area, And these are the people that are supposed to succeed what we are doing. Before you know it, they will say, oh, this one is having one sickness, don't play again, you can't sit down for a long time, you can't sing again. These are the people that will do it. But most of them had been discouraged. And then when they go outside there to go and do the contemporary one, they are encouraged. And now contemporary churches help more than the Orthodox. There is no argument about that one. Most of my friends had left playing classical music. They are now doing the praise and worship over there. Some at Present House, some over there at Aja, Ilubini, all these new generation churches, and they are doing well. Some of them will even be given car. Yes, I'm not trying to sugarcoat here. Some of them will be given cars. Then you look at yourself that I've been with these people for 11 years. If not that God helped me, I can able to put something together. You see, that is one of these things we are not really brushing up very well. We are not really encouraging. We are not really fueling, not in time of fire, fuel the interest of those who are those who are to become the organ scholar of tomorrow. They have already digressed. Don't forget one guy that was taken from TPH to abroad. One pastor came. I was in Nigeria then. The guy played hell in this praise and worship, and this visiting pastor went to him and this is what happened. I'm not sure when time you must have heard about it. I approached him after the service. I will make sure you are in England with us. The boy was happy. And in 2 months later, he saw letter, truly. They used the license of his church over there to bring this guy down to UK. Was in UK, was doing very well. I think it was only the 4th Sunday or the 5th Sunday. The pastor there wanted to preach, and then they said the pastor asked them to go and give him music. And for God's sake, what is in the music? Amazing Grace. This guy couldn't read anything. I'm not even sure whether he knows what they call GF, not to talk of marks of expression. You see, he couldn't read what is there. So they put it in his front. He was galvanizing and coming and going and coming. And then the pastor is a music pastor who also plays the organ. He plays note. Excuse me, please. No, play the music. Play the music, because he wanted to support his ministration, his preaching with the music in the front of this guy. That was how he said, this is not the type of person I'm talking about. So they asked that guy to go back to Nigeria. But he did not come back to Nigeria. I think somebody said he fixed himself up somewhere else. Yeah. So we are not doing enough. On a serious note, we are not doing enough. And then I am your father. I taught you are playing organ very well in my house. You can you can even play the Hallelujah chorus. You are trying this, you are trying that. At the end of the day, I now see that you are this. They say, your son is not coming again to the church. It's now going to 1K and S at Yokegbala, something like that. Oh, it's not. Actually, it's a Christian fold. But those there want to hold their own tradition, either the organ tradition, either the music tradition over there. But you can't hold it with what you have learned here. What you have learned here is something that is unique in the area of Orthodox, not Pentecostal. Not Pentecostal. Then another thing is love and mutual understanding. Yeah, we don't understand ourselves. It's always to your tent, O Israel. It's always fraction here, fraction there. Even in the choir, these ones are here, they know themselves. These ones, they know themselves. That one also is especially in mixed choir. Understand? Where you see a lot of indiscipline happening. I have ever loved boys and men choir. Yeah, I've ever loved boys and men choir. You see, there could be. I'm not saying ladies are bad. You know, in Western, you will hardly see. It is in Catholic, especially in London, that you see most ladies robing. But most of the churches of England are only admitting boys and men, and there is much discipline over there. There's much discipline. So there are whatever to hold the tradition of singing, the tradition of music, or tradition of organ is in our fold. And when we are talking about the tradition of organ, then I'm very sure that we have books. Yes. How many people read books now? It's not good. Most of our professors, I think Fadeyi, Dr. Fadeyi, had books. I was asking, then when I got to Mushi, I was invited to somewhere to come and listen to the choir. I was asking them all these things. Do you have a library? They said library. Library. I said, is it strange? So you do not know that choir must have a library, for God's sake. You should have a library, for God's sake. There must be a library. You are seeing what Dr. Loco has written, Dr. Fadi has written, most especially your Goranti, now Oluranti. I was in a school here because the school is about to do this Olukoya as a competition. Then I saw they now took Oluranti's piece. If you see how what they were singing, how they were interpreting, I said, if this man says he will bring gun and he won't shoot you, but he will drive all of you out of this place. You see, that is interpretation. They were not interpreting this man's music very well. So I helped them to do the interpretation and everything like this. Enough to say that we are standardizing or we are retaining the standard that organ music would have. Where are the books? Even me that I'm talking, I don't think, I read once. I read one once, I think by one. Now, this is a time everybody is guilty about it. Please let us rethink. We are talking about the organ culture. How can we know what organ culture when we don't buy books to read? We don't buy books to read. At the end of the day, they will tell you that, oh, it is all this thing, all this phone, the internet has brought it. What? There's nothing like that. There's nothing like that. Buy books, read. So that at times when there is your phone is misplaced one way or the other, the book is there for you to read. When you don't have data, the book you have bought does not use data. This is how we could keep all this tradition that we are talking about.
Wow.
Then the practical aspect of it is to practice. Where are the teachers? Where are the teachers? Understand? At times, this type of something, they could be bored. They could be bored. Then to let us know, maybe 15 minutes, to learn. And that is why somebody was abusing our professors. He said they are kitchen professors. I said, you better shut up your mouth. You better shut up your mouth, because you have never gone to any of them that drove you back. You have never gone to anyone that must have driven you, or have you gone to any of them? Have you raided their office? That, sir, I want to know something about organ culture in Africa, or compared to organ culture in Britain. What is the difference between two? And then, oh, is that what you have come for? Okay, thank you very much. Now stand up, come and go. It is not so. It is not so. If we do not read, we will not understand all these type of things.
Wow.
We need the books. Wow. We need the books to buy books, yes.
Wow. Definitely. I think I agree with you 200%. And thanks so much for this insightful conversation. I think the initial conversation was there is no resources. Now, and that's one of the things this platform is trying to mediate. Now, before we can have books, we need documentations. We need archives of experiences like what we are doing now. So this project itself is one of the our own first step in mediating such lack. And because if we have this video is going to make available, it will be made available for everyone to engage. And people can now, researchers can write about it, can write about you. And this can now stand on people's library across churches, schools, anywhere. And people can get to know. Look at what you have shared with us today. Who knows about Oladele? Who knows about your work with the fact that you were even recording the production yourself and take it to look at the process? Nobody knows about this. Nobody knows that you are even the one playing. I never knew you were the one playing until today. I thought you were just the broadcaster, the one programming, and somebody, either you are playing one radio, whatever. I didn't know. So the question is, this is the first step in mediating this lack. People don't know many things. We don't know many things, and they take it for granted. Okay, let's just do. So the knowledge has many layers. This is for us, this is the first layer. We don't care how long it is. The point is to, first of all, document this oral history. Then from the oral history, it becomes a documentation project that people can now go and use as a reference to create knowledge. Yeah, so so thank you so much for contributing to this. We are excited and we are so privileged for having you today. Of course, we know sometimes it happens like this. People are on their road going to one place or the other. Yeah, fine. But we have a few people here in case there's any question quickly for Prince Ope Fadina as we close today. We have a few people left. In case there's a question for Prince Ope Fadina. Thanks for joining us in this important documentation and oral history project. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Prince. Definitely, we are still going to have a more condensed session with you based on practicalities. Now, maybe we'll bring it to the organ house. There's organ, there's everything. It could be in form of workshop or whatever. But this one is for us the first step in mediating these challenges, defining what we have, taking us back to history, because people want to create, they don't understand what has come in the past. So we need to learn how to build on our history, on what has been done. So somebody cannot come tomorrow and say, I'm the first person who is doing radio program. Yeah, exactly. So people, we need to know about these things, and that's why.
As you have said, I went to check. Is there anybody who has written African Sacred Oratorio? I now saw that it was one Ghanaian. Yeah, so that it was from Ghanaian. So it's good to check. It's a very, very brilliant something you are doing here, for God's sake.
Yeah,
Very,
thank you.
very brilliant. Very, very brilliant.
Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, sir. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
It
Thanks,
is well.
everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I think we come to the end of this particular conversation today. Of course, this is not our usual seminar. This is our once in a month documentation process, history, Nigerian tracing, mapping the history and development of organ and choral culture in Nigeria. And today has been an interesting one, having the phenomenon of Prince Ope Fadina, Barrywhite, of course. I didn't even ask you how you became Barrywhite.
Oh, let me quickly say that, please. Just 1 minute. When I joined in 1984, as a lawyer, I was told that it was white shirt that if I wanted to rob, and I have forgotten, I've forgotten. When I got there, Mr. Kendi Okunsoya, in respect to him, I take him in high regard. So they were calling him Oka. I don't know where they said, you know why? That he will look at those boys. He loved his boys. He loved the tribal boys. He said, see this one, your mother came to report you early. Bushama should be Oka, Oka, Oka. So at the end of the day, we subsequented him as Oka. So he now talked to me very badly that, why are you in colored shirt again? You know, haven't I told you that you start to rob? Why? Why do you behave like that? I said, I'm sorry, sir. So I went to get like 12 white shirts. 12 white shirts. So I said, no more colored shirt. So that any time they call me, because at times I like twice, even when I was at the St. David, they said they were doing something that I should quickly come and rope, that the choir were not many. So I rushed down. And when I rushed down, it was, so I've been with white. So it was at Unwoke, this place, at City Choral Choir. They suspected that this guy is always in white. And that was how they resorted to say Barrywhite. And since then, even in England, it is Barrywhite.
Wow. So, thank you so much. Well, thank you so much. So
thank you, it's a pleasure.
We sincerely appreciate your time, and thanks for the years of experience that you have shared with us today, and many things we don't even know about the radio program that you have brought to light today. I hope many people will definitely learn a lot from this recording. Like we said, our YouTube page is a digital archive initiative. It's free for anyone, but for educators, for researchers who are looking for knowledge on Nigerian music, particularly organ and choral culture development. It's a journey we are in, and we are looking forward to hosting more singers, more organists, more choral directors in the coming months and coming years. So please join us if you are interested in this particular initiative. For today, thanks so much to Prince Ope Fadina. It's been an interest. I've learned a lot today. I've learned interesting stuff today. Thank you so much, sir.
Your program also opened my brain.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So, friends and colleagues, next week again, see you next week for our next conversation, our next seminar. Definitely before Monday, or by Monday, you get update on the target for next week. So thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much. See you, everyone. See you next week. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.